And then first of all would just be, I want to ask, what do you guys have that you might call a home altar or that I might call a personal shrine? I keep calling it a shrine and David gets mad at me, but I'm not trying to be offensive.
We had a rather tense exchange.
Right. So just, just give a description so that the people listening can picture what is actually in your house.
Yeah, so I guess
You want me to start, or are you going to start?
go ahead and then I'll follow.
All right, as you can see, we actually didn't plan this through very well.
Yeah, so I guess my own experience with having a home altar is that I have one.
Yeah.
So just like having an actual physical space, something that is set aside and dedicated, I guess you would call it holy and sacred for the purpose of prayer. Like in my case, it's actually like I have a spare room in my house that I don't have any other need from, so it's like, okay, I'll just set this whole room up as my shrine. I guess in this case, shrine is appropriate.
Thank you.
The altar is within the shrine.
Yeah.
So like this is my prayer room. I don't know, like it gives me a place where I can just kind of get away from everything else. I don't know, step outside of the noise and the commotion.
Yeah, well, for right now, let's just keep the visual description, because I will want to get into what's your practice and what's it mean to you and those questions as well. But right now we're just kind of setting the stage. So if you walk into this room, what are you going to see?
Okay, so you'll see up against one wall, the east wall. Maybe we can explain that later.
Okay.
There's a table that I made out of some scrap wood that I had in my barn, just like some old lumber that was in my, 100-year-old barn. And then, but there's a tablecloth on it, and there's a cross on that table, and then there's some icons on the wall, like of Jesus and Mary and some saints,
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. And then I also, I use candles and incense as well, for the same reason of getting yourself into this mindset of prayer. I think for now that's a suitable explanation.
Yeah. The candles, incense. We'll talk soon about prostration or like bodily prayer practices, and you see this kind of language all the time in the Bible, and you can go without practicing that. You don't have to light a candle to pray, but the Bible does lay that out as a symbol of what prayer is, and it seems like you might as well live out that symbol rather than just read it as words on the page.
Yeah, right. And I would just attest that actually having a way in which your body and your senses participate in prayer, it's not just like an abstract theory, oh, this makes sense to me. The Bible says, offer incense to the Lord, and so I'm going to offer incense to the Lord. Or the Bible says, bow down and pray to the Lord. Or other people have a practice of crossing themselves in their prayers, and so here's the justification for that. What I would say is a better argument is try it. Don't try to figure it out. Try it, engage in it, and you will learn there is something to it. Your body is a part of you, and it's involved in the act of worship and prayer just as much as your mind or your spirit or your emotions and those other parts of you are.
Right. I want to jump over to Aaron really soon, so I don't want to develop this thought too much more, but I have this experience that when you prostrate in prayer, there's almost this sense of I thought I was bowing down in my heart in the past, but now that I do it with my body, I realize that what I was doing before wasn't this.
Right.
Okay, but I will jump over to you, Aaron, and then just the same question. When you walk in, where are we in your house, and what do we see there?
Yeah, so where my altar is it's in my bedroom these days. Previously, when I lived in my own home, I had a separate room set up, like David discussed. But because of circumstances with my family, and I live with my widowed mother for the time being, so it's just my bedroom for now. So it's more of a private situation. The rest of my family isn't as accustomed to this type of practice. So,
Yeah, right.
that's where it is. But if you face my altar, actually I have kind of a separate station that is used for confession, and then you have the altar, which is used for what I would call deeper prayer and things like that. The station of confession I use is a place to obviously, confess my sins, but also to get out of my system my own, I like to call them my own little selfish prayers and things like that, so that when I go to the altar, the prayer is not about me. It's beyond me. But my altar is similar to what David described. It's actually the table that I use. I had made the table to be used as like a coffee table in the middle of the living room, but when I got involved in the making of the table, it became a hobby. I made it very extravagant and finished it very nice, and was like, this is too nice, and I didn't know what to do with it. And then it came to me to use it as an altar.
Yeah.
So it's there with a red linen cloth across the top of it. There's candles there, obviously. On the wall behind the table, obviously in the center is an icon of Christ. To the left is an icon of Mary, and then to her left is an icon of the Apostle Peter. And then to the right of Christ is an icon of the St. John the Baptist, and then to his right is St. Paul. And then above Christ would be the seraphim. And then on the table itself would be the book of the Gospel, the book of the Apostles, and then in the middle the Psalter. And so that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
If you would walk in and see it.